Hey everyone, I'm getting ready to resin some tiles, so I was going to show you the process very quickly. I just wanted to show you on my table first. I have Jack Richardson butcher paper that you can get from Hobby Lobby or the Amazon link below the video. And I just want to show you how easy it is when you have butcher paper. You can totally peel your dried paint right off of it. Super easy. How cool is that? So even the little paint drips, you can do it individually if it's all in one chunk. The only time it's hard to peel off is if it's smeared out, but if there's a good amount of paint, it'll even pick up the smears. But I just wanted to show you this, how super easy it is to take that paint and peel it right off your butcher paper if you want a clean piece of butcher paper. Even resin will peel off of it, and that's really cool too, because you can take those little resin pieces and use them on artwork as mixed media pieces. There's so many options with all kinds of drips that you know, the possibilities are kind of endless. But I'm just kind of going around here just very quickly, just showing you how easy it is to just pop up those paint skins very, very quickly. I'm going to resin, I don't know, about 24 tiles or so, and I've got two large 6-inch tiles that I did just for fun. And I want to show you a trick that I learned from Jill Jackson on her YouTube channel, which is Sister Earthification. And she uses mineral water to clean her paintings or whatever she's getting ready to resin. If there's any silicone in the painting or OGX, she uses mineral water. So I wanted to show you that. I'm just getting these last little drips up that are right here, but I'm not going to fool with the rest of the table. I just wanted you to see this. That's why I love this butcher paper. I'll get a roll. It's got about 30 to 50 feet on it, and it lasts a good long while, and it's great for paint skins for jewelry because literally you can peel the paint right off. So, and today I'm using Pro Marine supplies. It's in my link below the video, or it's the Amazon link, part A and part B. I'm going to do that in just a minute, but I wanted to show you the last tile that did have some OGX in it. It was just a regular dirty pour. I just wet my paper towel with this fizzy mineral water. This is Perrier, and you just wipe it down really well with the mineral water on the sides too. If you've got the paint that goes over the sides, then make sure to get your sides as well. I've cleaned anything else that I'm getting ready to resin here with this, so it's nice and clean, no silicone or OGX residue. And of course the tiles, I did the Shelly art style, and so they don't have any silicone in them or whatever, but I had one set that I did add some OGX in, so I've cleaned them, and pretty much the other tiles are all ready to go. The other thing when you're doing resin is to make sure, tape off the back of whatever you're resining to save you from having to deal with drips that harden, you know, to like a rock, and they're very difficult. So if you tape it with frog tape, it makes your life so much easier. So I'm going to put my gloves on. I've got an open window. You need ventilation and a respirator if you have one, or a mask. We're going to do 1-to-1 part, equal parts, and that's a must that you do equal parts. I've got these 2 cups I'm going to put the A and B into, and I've put a black mark. I don't know if you can see the black mark, but that tells me exactly where to pour to in each cup. You have to have exactly equal amounts for it to do its job properly. If you don't do that, then it's either not going to set up correctly, or it's going to set up too fast. So just keep that in mind. This does have a little bit of an odor. Jill Jackson from Sister Earthification uses this resin as well, and she is like what I call a resin expert. She's the best at resin. So I wanted to, I bought this because that's what she uses. So, and then as I'm pouring, I've got to make sure, like I said, that they are exactly equal parts. And I did not look at the table that shows you the calculator how much resin you'll need, because I'm doing tiles, which is a little bit harder to judge. So I'm just mixing hopefully a little more than I'll need. I'm hoping I'll have a little left over. I don't want to run short. So I'm going to put it in one container, mix it for 3 minutes, and then put it into another container and mix it for another 3 minutes. So here we go. The hardener is so much thicker than the other part, the A part, so keep that in mind when you're getting your hardener and everything out of their cups, is just to make sure and scrape, 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 so that everything is equal amounts and you're not short one part or another part because you didn't scrape it well. I was looking up different where I could try to find it on Google because these are coasters. I was looking up heat tolerant stuff, and really they're all about the same, because I've used Famo wood. I know there's art resin. Starting my timer so I don't talk and lose track of time. It's always good to start a timer. So anyway, I checked the different brands online, and it all looked like they were up to about 125, 130 degrees for heat resistance as far as hot stuff. So if you're selling these and people ask, just tell them maybe a slightly hot, ceramic coffee mug will work, but they can't be putting anything like hot pans from the stove or anything like that that's going to be over 125 degrees, or it will turn the resin to a gel state or soften it, and possibly ruin it. When you're doing this, I'd like to wipe the stick off every so often and go around the edges, and that makes sure to mix all of it in as best as you can, so that you don't have any residue of one part, A or B, that are sticking to the sides of the container or onto your stick or anything like that. Is just to constantly wipe your stick off and go around the edges. Well, I'll end this part of the mixing, switch it to another container and mix it for another 3 minutes, 4 minutes tops, and then it'll be ready to go. Also, it mentions in the Pro Marine website that a good temperature for the room to be that you're doing the resin in is around 75 degrees, not below 70, but ideally about 75, so keep that in mind as well. Now, because I'm in a taller container this time, the second round, I'm going to switch to a spatula to finish mixing my product, because this popsicle stick, craft stick, is not quite long enough. I have my heat gun ready, and I'm going to set my tiles up real quickly. Make sure they're all level. Okay, so with this resin, you only have a certain amount of working time and then it really starts setting up. You have to make sure you're level and to pop all the air bubbles with the heat gun or heat torch, and then like I said, you've got kind of a limited amount of time to work with it before it sets up and it gets very thick and you just got to work pretty fast. So I'm going to cover these so that no dust or fur or hair gets into it, and I'll show you the end results in 24 hours.
Okay, so I was working on tiles earlier and cut my fingers and everything, but so I didn't varnish, I resined my tiles, and I just wanted to show you kind of what they look like. And so when you take that frog tape off the back, it's just basically, you know, the tile that you see typically. And then I get a stack of these cork with the self-adhesive that you just pull right off. It's super sticky, and you just lay it down in the center of the back of the tile. You press and it's there pretty firm. And so they're resined. I don't know if you can see the shimmer. These were what they actually probably did the least cracking, this color here. So these turned out really kind of pretty. And my son chose these. He and his girlfriend chose these for the colors that they wanted for their house. And there's some pretty shimmer in there. I don't know if you can see that shimmer, but there's some metallic gold in there that's popping through. So I had some cracking in places. This one did not crack at all, which was a miracle. But see, there's little fractures of cracking. And these were the ones that were covered pretty securely the longest. The other tiles, these were the ones that were the regular acrylic pours. They had no cracking at all whatsoever. The ones that have the Christmas colors. So I've got two sets of purple ones that they did some cracking just a little bit, and this one had some major cracking. I just filled it in with paint and kind of rubbed out the purple paint, so it just kind of looks funky. But I've actually sold the two purple sets to one of my clients. But I wanted to show you the difference. I had two tiles left to take the tape off. One, I taped just the bottom edge. So if you can see on the sides, the paint goes over the sides and the resin, but it's a little bit lumpy. So I've not gotten that down pat as far as to getting it nice and smooth. But these were the tiles that have the couple of little ridges on them, the little grooves that kind of stick out. And it really doesn't look that bad once you paint them and resin them. That doesn't stand out. But I wanted to show you how I take the tape off. Is I kind of pull it towards myself, and then I try to pull it in a straight line down the edge of the tile, and that helps you kind of get a clean edge on that. So I'll take out this middle piece or two of tape. It's not attached to any of the sides. And I kind of pay attention to which piece of tape is overlapping which piece. So I pull it towards myself, and I try to go straight down the edge. So I've got that one little piece right here of resin, and that I have to cut with the razor knife. And that's how I cut my finger earlier. So you've got to be really careful with that. And so you just peel this frog tape off, which really, the frog tape sticks really well. It's the best tape I've ever used. So see, that's pulling up nice and straight on the edge there. Take it around that corner. So that came off nice and clean. So what I do is I take my cork, peel off the sticky tape, center it right there in the middle, press it down. So there's another one. Okay, so then I had one set, my Christmas colored set, and I left one tile taped on it, and this is the one I taped along the edges. At the beginning of the video, I taped this one along all the edges on this 4 set of tiles, and I wanted to show you the difference and how these come off. You pull that tape off. So you just kind of find one of your edges and you just go around the whole side of the tile. And if you don't get the edge just right, you just got to lift it right back up and start it. And what happens is it actually pulls off in a nice clean edge. So let me get this started around here and I'll show you. You just kind of take it around that corner. Because I just kind of did a continuous piece of tape or two. So if you lose the end of it, you just find it again and you keep on peeling. Okay, so on these, the edges are white. And so it's just painted on the top and it's resined on the top, but because I painted on I took my paint and, the tape and taped along this edge, you've got this nice, very clean ridge and edge. That's how some people do, like, cradled panels that they do pours on or whatever. They'll tape off the wood edge and they'll leave it and they'll just paint the surface, and that's what I did with this set of tiles. So they all have that nice clean white edge. So you can do it that way. It takes a little bit longer on the taping part, but it does work. And I did want to show you, I did 2 6-inch tiles and I resined them. So these I didn't tape before I painted them. I just kind of painted them on the spur of the moment. So I'm going to have to go and get some cork, and I will adhere the cork to the back of this, and I will sell it like a decorative tile. Not for somebody to put something really hot on. Most resin is good to 125 degrees or so. So I'll sell this as a decorative trivet. Someone can use it, just laying down. They can put glasses or whatever on it if they want to. They can put it on a plate stand or on a small easel and use it as a decorative piece. They could prop it in a bookshelf, So here's the other one, and I have not untaped that one. I did tape it before I resined them, but I didn't tape them before I painted them. But this one had the pretty sparkles. I wanted you to see the sparkles, and that's that, if you can see, that is the Artist Loft iridescent medium that I added to the regular acrylic paints. And they came out nice and pretty and sparkly. I don't know if you can see it, and I'll show you. I'll try to get a better angle with my camera here in a minute. So yeah, I taped the backs of these, and I've just got to pull the tape off on that because I taped them before I resined it. Because otherwise, if you don't tape and you try to get this resin off the back, it's really a pain in the butt to get off. But if you've got this tape, the tape will peel off and that resin will come off. So my fingernails are short right now, so I'm having issues because my fingernails are so short. But you always want to tape before you resin, or you'll have a mess to clean up on the back side of a canvas or tile or anything you paint on that has resin on it. So I wanted to show you that. I'm going to finish that in a minute. I'm going to change the angle of the camera. So So now I'm just going to zoom in on some of these. I wanted to see if you could see the sparkle on this one. I don't know if you can see it as much. But you can see the sparkle in that, and that is that Artist Loft iridescent medium that I put into some of my colors. The pink doesn't have it, but the purple and blue did. And you see that sparkle? It is just gorgeous. But it only works in the more transparent colors. If the color is opaque, like that pink, if it has some white in it and it's opaque and it's not see-through or transparent, when you add that iridescent medium, it just kind of makes it look chunky, but it doesn't really make it sparkle. So it works really well with transparent colors. But here are, I got these kind of out of order here, but there are the finished tiles, and I did do a little bit better with my blooms this time. This is, I think, my third attempt at the blooms, and I did have more success. The cracking I still have issues with, and I know that I'm going to have to totally keep something totally covered for days in order for it to dry without cracking. But this was a wonderful experiment, and this was using my regular acrylic fluid art that was just 1 part paint to 1 part Floetrol. And I did use the, in the middle, I used the white that was the cell activator, but the rest was just my regular recipe. And see, I got some shimmer in there. Can you see the shimmer in the red and green? It's got some sparkle to it. Oh, this one has some good shimmer too. I don't know if you can see that corner there, but it's got some pretty shimmer. I think out of all of them, I was really pleasantly surprised in the yellow. Even though it's got some cracks underneath the resin, that yellow gold shimmer with the pewter was a really pretty combination in my opinion, even though it did crack a little bit. And of course, you know, anything in the blue and purple family are my kind of happy colors, so I love that combination. But I am fairly pleased with the outcome of, I'll zoom out a bit here, of all of these. You know, for my third attempt at blooms, I did better. Oh, and I wanted to show you too, when you have this butcher paper that's in my Amazon link, the Jack Richardson butcher paper, you can just take your fingernail and peel up the resin right off of the paper. Isn't that cool? So you can take a whole little drip that's dried on your table and just peel it right off. So you can throw these away. You could incorporate them into some mixed media art pieces. There's so many options, but that is why I love this butcher paper. See, here's some paint, and I've showed you earlier, but you can just totally peel the paint off. Just like that. Dried paint, it just peels right off. So I love the butcher paper. I constantly use it underneath everything. Even if I'm using puppy pads, I'll put butcher paper underneath the puppy pads. And that way, like all this resin that's on the table, I can just totally peel it off, and I'll have a clean piece of paper underneath. It might have some stains on it, but that is so cool. I plan on doing more with the resin and experimenting more with that in other ways. I've got some plans in my head too. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you on the next one. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.